You want to set a release that works with the groove of the song. Set a release that doesn't destroy the groove of the song, which means you have to listen carefully. This channel is more about teaching you guys how to think when you're working, not just showing what a plugin can do, because when you understand how to think, you can make better decisions and you can always get better results. So hey guys, you're welcome to the video, you're welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoyed that last video. Today I'm going to demonstrate to you guys how I would approach mastering compression. Mastering compression or compression during mastering is a very common practice. I would say almost 80% of every song you listen out there went through a mastering compressor during the mastering stage. The intention is always to glue the sound, make it sound cohesive, or just tame certain frequencies. And today I'm going to show you guys how I would approach compression with a Vari Mu compressor. I have 3 Vari Mu compressors over here. We have the Pulsar Mu. This is the new GUI to it, and I think it's very intuitive. I like it, and that's the more reason why I'm making this video today. We also have the undeniably. This is from IK Multimedia. You've probably come across this, and maybe you don't know that it's a Vari Mu compressor. Also have the UAD Manly Mu compressor. All of these are emulations of the analog Vari Mu compressor, but today our focus is going to be on the Pulsar Vari Mu. We're going to use a sound you've probably heard. It's on our previous videos where I demonstrated how I would mix choir vocals. Let's listen to it again just to refresh our ears. Alright guys, that's enough already. I'm going to link the video to this one, so maybe you can go back and watch it after this video, or you can watch it before you come back to this video. I mixed the vocals on Luna, but today we will be doing the mastering compressor demonstration in FL Studio. The purpose is so you know all of the things I'm doing can be achieved in any DAW. So as you can see guys, when you open this compressor, the user interface might look intimidating, but if you understand the different knobs and how they work, and you have an idea in your mind of the sound you're looking for, you can always use this compressor to achieve that sound. I would describe Vari Mu compressors as having a silky, warm sound. I like to use the term warm loosely because it's overused in the audio industry, but then I think it's a proper term to describe Vari Mu compressors. They are silky and they are warm. So when you open the compressor, I'm talking about the new updated version. Before we didn't have this window with this EQ for the sidechain, but yeah, I'm happy this update has it. After this window, we have our meters, the gain reduction meters, the threshold, they attack the dual input, and then the output and the release. Guys, this compressor can also work in both mid side, left and right. You see, we can switch that right down here. Today we're going to be using it on the left and right mode. You might think that the compressor have too many knobs going on, but these knobs actually just mirror each other. So if we're working with the left and the left side of the compressor becomes your left, and the right side of the compressor becomes your right. But when you switch it into mid side, the left side of the compressor becomes the mid and the right side of the compressor becomes the side. What that should tell you is the same parameters on the left are actually the same parameters on the right. The difference is on the left, they affect the left signal, and on the right, they affect the right signal. Same as when you switch it to mid side, the left will affect the mid signal and the right will affect the side signal. Let's switch it back to left and right. So here you get the point. When this chain is interwoven, it means it's linked. As you can see, for now, nothing is happening to the sound. That is because our threshold has not been set. In most cases, when I'm approaching mastering compression, I always want to keep my changes very minimal. I would hardly compress more than 2 dB during mastering. Like 2 dB is the most. Yes, it's always around 1 point something dB, but hardly above 2 dB. How do we set our parameters? So when you open this compressor, the first parameters you want to approach are the input and the output knobs. Yes. And if you select the shift, you can actually toggle both the input and the output at the same time, which means if you're increasing the input, you are reducing the output at the same time. If you're reducing the input, you're increasing the output at the same time. This is so important for gain staging reasons, so you don't let the perception of an increased volume in sound fool you that you're making progress. But for the purpose of this video, we want to keep the levels of the sound where they are and then just process it with the attack, the release, and the threshold. Those are always the main parameters of a compressor: attack, release, threshold. Every other parameter that follows is like secondary. we're going to start by setting the threshold. And then after the threshold, we're going to follow with the attack and the release. We're going to set our threshold to make sure we're compressing not more than 1 dB. But then we will listen while we're doing it to make sure we're not just compressing to reduce the gain levels, we're compressing to make sure we're taming the sound and gluing the sound. And guys, as you can notice, when the threshold starts hitting the signal, this meters here will tell you how much compression is happening. And while we're increasing the threshold and compressing, we're also listening to the sound to make sure we are not just squeezing the sound or we're destroying the sound. So as you can see guys, I've turned all of our threshold and we are not compressing even up to 1 dB yet. Let's say in a scenario where we wanted to compress at least more than 1 dB, this is the point where we actually increase the input. When we increase the input, more signal gets fed into the compressor. But then we have to be careful because more signal might fool us to think that the compressor is doing more work than it's actually doing. That is why while we are increasing the input, we should also be reducing the output at the same time to make sure we are gain staging. So like I told you, if you select shift on the Mac, you can increase the input and reduce the output at the same time. Let's do that. And as you can see, now we're getting more than 1 dB of compression. But our signal stays the same. Alright guys, we're getting averagely 1.4 dB of compression, but then the signal is getting destroyed. This is the part where we engage our attack. When it comes to mastering compressors, it's always advisable to use a slow attack. The reason you want to use a slow attack is because a fast attack is going to kill your transients. Because when you compress your transients, your signal is going to lose dynamic range. When it comes to mastering, dynamic range is very important. Most people think that mastering is really about just gaining more volume, but then it's not really about volume. You can gain more volume with a limiter or whatever, but then you've destroyed the sound and then the sound lacks a soul, it lacks a body, it lacks a movement. So without your transients, your sound is as good as dead. That is why you want to use a slow attack. What a slow attack does is it lets your transients pass, then it compresses the sound after the transients. You see, slow attack, it means it's reacting slow to the sound. And as you can see here, our attack is at its lowest, but then we are still compressing more than 1 dB. This is the part where we reduce the threshold a bit. As we are reducing the threshold, it's compressing less. Now we're compressing averagely around 1 dB, but then our attack is too slow. Just because they say during mastering you should use a slow attack, it doesn't mean the attack always has to be at its slowest. This is the part where you use your ear and set the attack to the point where it's not too fast where it's destroying your transients, and it's not too slow where it's reacting negatively to the sound. You just want to find a sweet spot. Let's do that right away, guys. As we're doing, we're listening carefully. Mastering is really about paying attention to detail, listening carefully. Right there, right there. I like it right there. Yes. And as you can see, because our signals are linked, whatever we're doing on the left is getting applied on the right as well. Now that we're done with our attack, let's follow up with the release. During mastering compression, you always want to use a fast release. That is the general rule. Fast release means the compressor shouldn't hold on too much to the sound. When it compresses, it lets go. Compresses, lets go. You want to set a release that works with the groove of the song. Let's forget about tempo here. Let's talk about groove. You want to set a release that works with the groove of the song. Set a release that doesn't destroy the groove of the song, which means you have to listen carefully, because if you set a release that is too slow, it changes the groove of the song. You might start hearing sometimes that your song that was initially fast starts sounding slightly slower, and you start wondering, like, my song was fast during mixing. Now that I'm mastering, yeah, I'm gaining volume and doing everything, being glued, but then for some reason it's getting slower. The release is always the culprit in most of those scenarios. So you want to set your release where it just matches with the groove of the song. Guys, right there, I think that's a sweet spot for our release. And I think these are very good settings for this compressor on this particular song. If this was like a real mastering scenario and I had to compress the song, all of these settings we have done so far are already enough. But then, since this is a demonstration video, since this is a tutorial, I'm going to show you guys extra parameters in this compressor that can actually help you tone your sound even more. So over here we have the sidechain EQ. What the sidechain EQ does is it helps you select a frequency band where you either want to not be compressed or you want to be very compressed. For example, if in this song we feel that the low end is too much, we might want to boost the low end on our sidechain EQ so that the compressor can detect more signal from the low end. Or if we feel that our low end is good and maybe our mids are too much and we want to tame just the mids, we might want to boost the signal in the mids so that our compressor is seeing more signal from the mids and compressing more of the mids than, let's say, the lows and the highs. And something worth mentioning is this EQ doesn't change the sound of your signal. It's just a sidechain EQ that boosts a certain frequency just for the compressor to detect that frequency more without actually boosting that frequency on the output of the sound. I don't know if that makes sense. Let me show you guys that in action. Let's boost more of the mid frequencies so that our compressor can detect more of the mid frequencies. As you can see, it's compressing more. It's compressing more because it's detecting more sound around the mid frequencies. You see? And we can also set the Q value. We can make it to be wide or steep. Now this is too wide. Let's say 1. Voila. And then also you have the sidechain listen. What this does is you can listen to the signal you want the compressor to detect more. So when you select this earphone and listen, I bet you can tell we actually needed more compression around this band because you can see it really made a difference to the sound. Let me switch it on and off so you can tell the difference yourself. This is off. This is on. You can tell the sound just got a little bit more softer and more like just pleasing to the ear. Guys, this is the power of the Vari Mu compressor. And as you can also see, we are compressing a little bit too much. We want to reduce the threshold again. Let's also say we didn't want this compressor to compress the low end. We wanted to maintain the level. We wanted to maintain the low end, the kick and the bass, and just elements of the low end. We don't want our compressor to detect signal on the low end. We can use a high pass filter here and set the frequency to exactly where we don't want the compressor to detect signals here. So now it's at 84 Hz. And what happens is when we do this, the signal is getting compressed less because compressors always detect most of their signal on the low end because that is where the energy of the song is the low end. So that's the first part where the compressors detect more of the signal. If you feel that your low end is good and you don't want your compressor compressing the low end, this comes in very handy. You use a high pass filter over here so your compressor doesn't detect signal around this frequency. So you see our compressor is focused mostly now on the mid frequencies. Let's just turn off the compressor and listen to the dry signal before the compressor and what we've done so far, just so we can tell the difference. This is our dry signal before the compression. Now this is our compressed signal. And as you can tell, we have lost some gain. That's the part where we come here and on our output, we increase it a bit just to level match it. Beautiful, guys. If you are unsure what your levels are, you can always check the numbers from here. This is the input and this is the output. So yeah guys, this is the Pulsar Vari Mu compressor in action. I love this compressor a lot. I use it a lot on my mastering chain and I would advise you guys to check it out. It will take your sound to the next level. Like I told you, this channel is more about teaching you guys how to think, not just showing what a plugin can do. It's teaching you how to think when you're working, because when you understand how to think, you can make better decisions and you can always get better results. I think there's a parameter I didn't mention. This is the mix knob. So let's say in a scenario where you want to keep a little bit of the original signal the way it was, you can always use your mix knob. You see, at 70%, it means just 70% of the compressor is affecting the signal and the remaining 30% is dry the way it was originally. At 50%, it means we are having 50% of the compressed signal and 50% of the original signal. So this can always come in handy, this parallel compression where you're compressing just part of the signal and leaving the original signal. So yeah guys, that was it for today's video. I hope you guys learned something and I hope this video gives you the much more extra confidence you might have been needing to approach compression during mastering. If there's anything you didn't understand or anything you're facing challenges with, please let me know in the comment section. I'll be happy to reply. I could always make a video to help you out. Yeah, see you guys on the next video. Take care.